call to order this December 2nd, 2020 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. I'd like to ask that everyone silence their telephones and cease any private conversations. And we'll begin by having our members and ex officio members introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Ray Casano.
Shahab Amrani.
Festus Pobeni.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Venkat Devaneni.
Keenan Kinsel.
Frank Hibbert, Mayor of Clearwater.
Mark Bunker.
Very good. So we'll begin with item number 2 on the agenda. And this is regarding the minutes of the November 4th, 2020 meeting. Is there anyone that would like to request any corrections to the minutes of that meeting? All right. And can I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the November 4th meeting? Shahab, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Keenan seconds. Okay, is there any discussion on these minutes? Okay, there are none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, let's go to item number 3. Citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. First, comments must be limited to matters relevant to downtown. Comments on items on the agenda will be held until the agenda item. Speakers must identify themselves, and there will be a strict time limit of 3 minutes. So do we have a comment?
I will say there will be an exception to this one because the video is longer than 3 minutes, so.
Oh. Okay, got it.
Good
Okay,
evening, everyone. Lena Teixeira, 522 Cleveland Street. I would like to take this opportunity to formally thank the Downtown Development Board for its support. The DDB has played a crucial role amidst this debilitating pandemic. COVID-19 has resulted in severe challenges and limitations. Our usual partners and various entities have been paralyzed, thus leaving the CRA, the Merchants Association, and the DDB to carry the burden. The proactive actions of the city, primarily the street closures, Cleveland Street, ignited a fire in the Merchants Association. We experienced a rebirth. With the much needed support of the DDB, we have not only survived, but we created something special. And for that, we are eternally grateful. One of the special things that emerged is the great sense of community and pride. And from that pride resulted an original song and video about our great city. With your support, I commissioned America's Got Talent Chris McCarty, nationally syndicated VJ DJ Kid Leo, and the talented videographer PJ Agostini. Our goal was to create a song and video that showcased the beauty of the city and its people. I believe we've done just that. I now present to you the product of your sponsorship, Sail Away Where I Want to Go.
Friends up on the roof down, but it don't stop. Wouldn't think we should sweet child of mine. Move your feet to the beat tonight, and everything's gonna feel alright. See you when in the summer till it's ripping. Holding hands with you, taking us to new heights. I know what we can do after. I know what's spice and key. You'll know yourself a little better if you step this down. Just in my eyes, in my head. Lazy dancing in my bed. Oh yeah, I know where I wanna go. Just in my eyes, just in my head. Lazy dancing in my bed. Oh yeah, I know where I wanna go. Sail away. Sail away to a place that I know you wanna get away. Whenever clouds of sadness take my thoughts, I find a secret place in my heart. The sun is always shining warm, sands caress my feet. As reflections of the ocean dance across my eyes, I see the timeless love in all that is, the beauty of your skies. In my eyes, in my head, music dancing in my bed. Oh yeah, I know where I wanna go. Just in my eyes, just in my head, music dancing in my bed. Oh yeah, I know where I wanna go. I'm on the floor now, Florida, Florida.
I just wanted to add that we've, on just 2 of the pages that I posted on, we've had over 9,000 views. So it's doing pretty good.
Nice.
Any questions, comments?
Gorgeous.
Amazing.
Nice.
Nice going.
Thank you.
How long is it?
I'm sorry?
How long is the video?
4 minutes, a little bit over 4, right?
Oh.
I'm not quite sure. The day was 12 hours, but we
Yeah.
condensed it to 4 minutes. Yeah.
So that's how it works.
It's a new
Okay,
career
well-
for you.
I've actually done this before, but not for a music video, for branding. But,
And what's the plan going forward to get many more views? How does that work?
I have a few things in the fire. I don't want to say it to jinx it, and I don't want to misspeak. So, but I have a few more initiatives that I'm working on. I know that Mayor Hibbert today had a great suggestion.
Mr. Chair, there is a competition amongst mayors from around the country through the U.S. Conference of Mayors for hometown songs. So we wanted to submit that, and God willing, we could have a really good result as far as,
National
the press
exposure?
that it gets nationally.
Yeah, that'd be excellent.
That'd be great.
Amanda?
We have submitted it, so that happened this afternoon.
Oh,
There you
good.
have it, ladies and gentlemen.
So
Don't
it's
say city
already on
government
its way.
works slow.
That's pretty good.
So that's on its way. We've also, the CRA sent out a link through its e-newsletter. Part of the next step for further social promotion is we need a smaller clip in order for people to look at it quickly and want to go into the full length.
I can email that to you right now.
Great, send it to Rosemary, don't send it to me.
Rosemary?
And then, Lena, if you could speak a little bit about, I know one of the goals from the previous video, right, was to get original songs. So if you can talk about how that's been worked out, so we know what else could happen in terms of people wanting to create content, and using that song again.
Yes, so it was a very unique experience, right? Because usually artists compose their own songs. This was a unique experience because I am telling them what I want. So it was a little bit challenging, but the agreement that we had was because they were commissioned, I guess, would be the best word, and they had they were regulated, right? So the actual art process was hindered. The agreement was that they own the 2 musicians, Kid Leo and Chris McCarty owns the song. However, they signed a waiver that any city organization, city department, including the tourism department, Amplify, Merchants Association, DDB, and I think there's two more. We can use it without any royalties. And so that's been very clear, and all parties have signed that waiver. So that was the, I guess, the agreement that I asked from them, because usually this situation would be quite different, especially for the video. Usually it's a going video for music video would be like anywhere between 45 to 85, and that's just like 85,000. 45 to 85,000 would be basic, and we each, each person got like 1,400. So this was everyone participated for the love of Clearwater, because this is way below the usual fee.
Excellent.
And we had many partners. Ruth Eckerd Hall opened up for us. Because of COVID, we really made sure that all the venues were closed, so we could control the social distancing. So Capitol Theater, Ruth Eckerd Hall, Ross Norton, even the mall, they all worked with us. And so I guess Clearwater Marine Aquarium as well. They sent us footage of Winter, because right now Winter doesn't have the tail, and I really wanted the tail on. So there was so many people who participated in this, and were very willing and generous to be part of it.
Very good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Any other citizens to be heard? Very good. We'll move on to new business. And Ann Lopez, would you guide us through the October 2020 financial statement?
Good evening, Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. What you have before you are your monthly financials for your first period of the 2021 fiscal year of October. We had $7,519 of expenditures. That mainly was your first month of your CRA admin cost, state special district fees, your property appraiser fees, public meeting notice, lighting for your storage for your holiday lighting, and operating expenditures, which left you with currently a balance of $735,578.
Did I hear you right? Did you say
Yes.
700?
Yes, it's because the money has not been transferred out
The
for
CRA?
the CRA DDB interlocal.
Okay. We're rich. Let's go shopping.
Next week, yep, for maybe a couple more weeks, because it was just signed, so.
Cyber Wednesday.
So it's gone now, but yes. Any questions?
Amanda?
And I will add, we met with Monica Mitchell with Finance today, and in January, we'll be coming with a budget amendment. This will require 2 hearings, so in January and February, to allocate the fund balance. So the DDB has had a practice over the past several years of, if you have money left over at the end of the year, it's gone into a fund balance. It hasn't been reallocated as part of your new budget process. That's been built up over time. So even with keeping your $50,000 required in reserves, you have $380,000 that can be put into this current year budget. So we'll be working with you in January and February to decide how would you like that $380,000. You can just keep it in reserves. You can add it into any of your, discretionary budget categories. So just know that that's coming, and the reason why you have that large of a number is there's just been several years that
We
it just
didn't
hasn't
spend
been
it.
folded in, so to speak.
Okay, very good. Okay, so are there any questions from the board? Keenan?
I think this was covered last meeting, but the superboat allocation, that got canceled, right? The superboat?
Yes.
So that's going,
It's just sitting in your budget.
It'll just sit, okay.
Yeah, and unless you decide to allocate that money towards something else.
okay.
So if you want to do transfers, you can do that at any meeting. I move to transfer superboat funds from this line to this line.
Okay. Any other questions from board? Okay. Are there any citizen comments regarding this item? All right, I'd like to request a motion to adopt the October 2020 financial statement for filing.
I'll make a motion to adopt the financials for October
Very good.
for filing.
That's Keenan. Do we have a second? Ray Casano? Very good. Is there any discussion on this item? All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Appears unanimous. Okay, we'll go to item 4.2, a discussion on the conditions of the railroad crossing in downtown. And Venkat, can you take the lead on this?
Sure. So the railroad crossing intersects with a few roads in downtown Clearwater. The railroad crossing on Cleveland Street is well maintained, but the wood surrounding tracks on other intersections like Drew Street and Northeast Avenue, Laura Street and Northeast Avenue are breaking apart, exposing the metal studs holding the railway tracks to the ground. Car tires are getting damaged, and I believe it's a very unsafe condition. I would request to write a letter of recommendation to the relevant city department to improve the railroad crossings in all streets in downtown Clearwater.
I think you had a response to that.
I do. We have already contacted, it's CSX ultimately that has to do the work.
Oh, okay.
And let me just give you history. They're hideous to work with. There's just no other word for it. Back in, I think it was 2006, they wanted to redo the crossings on Court and Chestnut. They were going to not do them simultaneously, but they were going to close all 4 lanes down at one time in March.
Wow.
I called the CEO at the time. He would not accept my calls, so I did talk to the president just below him, and they said they really didn't care. It was for the safety of their workers. We offered to have officers safeguarding 2 lanes at a time. They still wouldn't do it. So I asked the Chamber of Commerce to do an email to all of the members, and we fax blasted CSX with about 5,000 faxes. It finally got through, and they didn't do it. But they are really an atrocious company to work with, and even FDOT, that's an FDOT road, did not have the authority to override them. So the traffic department, which Paul Bertels, I've already talked to him about it. I won't cross those crossings with my car because I don't want to lose a tire. If you do, you can go to CSX for compensation, but we have already sent a letter. I will try to make another call to them. It's not the same CEO as they used to have, but it's ridiculous.
Just a quick question on this. Can the city file a lawsuit against CSX because it is public safety and they're endangering public safety?
I'd have to check with our legal department. There are certain, the railroads have extreme power that goes back to the 19th century, throughout the entire country. So there are some enormous limitations even on states, much less cities. But I will have our city attorney look into it.
Thank you.
I'd rather have it just rectified, which it needs to be.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, are there any citizen comments on this issue? Oh, our attorney.
I just wanted to add to what the mayor said. A large part of the problem is not only do they have a lot of power, they have a lot of protection against liability. And they don't really, it was amazing that you got that many letters and got some action out of them, because historically that really is the only thing that works is public pressure. They don't have to worry about liability. They don't have to worry about what the state wants. They don't have to worry about what we want. It's a pressure matter.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any citizen comments on this point? All right, is there any motion to be made here, or?
I mean, the mayor said that he will make a phone call. I don't think writing a letter is necessary, so we'll just drop the motion.
Okay,
And we're working with Paul Bertels as well.
Okay, thank you.
okay. So then we will leave this item as it is and go on to the next item. Okay, so item 4.3, a funding request, DCMA marketing in the amount of $34,300. Howard, can you take the lead on this one, please?
Good evening, Board. Howard
Evening.
Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. For this request is to request approval of a funding request for the Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association, DCMA, in the amount of $34,300 for a marketing campaign for the district. The purpose of this item is to request approval of the DCMA's funding request to create and execute a multi-channel marketing campaign for advertising, public relations, direct mailing, promotional materials, and social media expenses for the branding efforts of the districts totaling $68,600. The DCMA approached the DDB on November 4th, 2020 for funding approval. In this meeting, the board approved to fund $34,300, half of the original funding request, to the DCMA with conditions. The board requested that the DCMA presents a plan that outlines specific deliverables for marketing, and under marketing, the DCMA will provide a list of and details for each DCMA member to be promoted in their marketing plan that includes current business members and targeted business memberships. Under revenue funding, the DCMA will identify the revenue streams and include the cost of all activities with expected results for direct mailers, branded materials, and planned social media campaigns. Under financial stability, the DCMA will list potential corporate sponsorships and additional funding sources for currently in use or identified for the future. If approved, the DCMA will complete a grant agreement that outlines their request, proposed activities, timeline, budget, and reporting requirements to facilitate an advance payment. As a board, you, the DDB, can fund part, all of the funding requests that may and may determine on a case-by-case basis the issuing of advance payments to grantees. The current plan does not include performance metrics, and that item will be provided at the DDB hearing for today. If the DCMA marketing campaign with detailed metrics meet the requirements of the board, the marketing activities for the district, as outlined, will allow the DCMA to complete all proposed activities as requested. In addition to funding for this grant request is available in the special events grant line item in the marketing category of the budget 182-941-558600 for the DDB 2021 fiscal budget. Presenting the information today, I have Carolyn Branham and also Scott Sosa of the DCMA, which are co-vice presidents. I'd like to call Carolyn Branham up at this time.
Very good.
Good evening, everyone. I'm back, and I brought my cohort with me. Scott, who wasn't here last time. I did a lot of talking last time, so I told him he had to talk this time. So we submitted our marketing plan. Basically, I want Scott to kind of go over a little bit about more what the DCMA's purpose has kind of evolved to. It's a little different than when we started out several years ago. And after coming back from our last meeting, it was very clear to me that we've kind of grown and expanded our mission and our purpose as a group, and I just wanted him to kind of talk to that a little bit before we got started into the meat of the marketing plan, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Mr. Hibbert, Mr. Bunker, can I get your autographs first before the video goes viral?
I think you're mistaking me for George Clooney. How she got him to do a cameo, I don't know.
I apologize, I wasn't here for the last meeting. It was extremely important to us, and I can't thank you enough for everything, all your support and everything that you've done. My wife was extremely sick, and I was at home. I had to quarantine for a while myself, and so I missed a couple of weeks of work, and a couple of weeks of working with downtown. So it's been a challenge catching up, but we're there finally. You probably heard me screaming at my laptop at the last meeting. My wife is 2 rooms over, and she knows Keenan's name, and she, as I'm yelling, wanting to be here to join in these discussions. But I know we spent a lot of time early on in the meeting last time talking about some of where the name came from and some of that stuff. I don't want to rehash that, but I do want to give you a little bit of background about 6 months ago when we started this group together. we are 10 times stronger than we have been in the past. But we had some short-term goals, which, you know, in conjunction, thanks Mr. Hibbert and the council members for being able to close down the streets. And the short-term goals were just to keep some businesses open. And it worked. It was wildly successful. I can tell you from a personal perspective from our restaurant, we opened on June 1st. We were down $40,000 to last year in the month of June. We were down 25 in July. It's been, the graph goes exactly like this, and we're not going to flatten the curve, to where we are up $15,000 this month over last year. So we've had the busiest November we've ever had. October was also up in sales. So, and a lot of that is due to the street closures and the kind of the rebranding of downtown. And the biggest thing that we've gotten out of this was we've put a positive spin on downtown Clearwater, which has had its challenges over the last several years. So we're getting people coming out that haven't been out in years, have been downtown or don't know anything about it. So it's obviously good for all of us, and we want to continue. On that front, we're expanding our boundaries where the DCMA used to be the merchants downtown. We have a new list of about 30 merchants now that are involved, ranging to a couple of, there's probably half a dozen of them that are outside of the DDB area, but that are close enough that see what we're doing downtown and want to be involved and want to help out. So more power to them. So whether they're a little further up Cleveland Street or whether they're over on Chestnut, just outside of they're all neighbors. They're all very close in our neighborhoods. But obviously good for us and good for the city. So we're from that 30, we expect to have probably another 15 very shortly, and the goal will be to have 50 people in this group. Where we, back in January, Howard can testify, we probably had 4 people at a meeting. Now we're looking at 50. So it's, like Carolyn said, we are growing and we're expanding. Our midterm goals are to fill a bunch of these storefronts downtown that are empty. Carolyn and I are meeting with landlords to find out what spaces are vacant and to really be helping pitch in conjunction with the CRA and Amplify to take people that we know are people because they see what's going on downtown to bring people through and show them some properties and trying to get them to work with the landlords to fill these spots. We have something that Dunedin doesn't, that Safety Harbor doesn't, with the ability to have all our outdoor entertainment, our outdoor, the whole atmosphere that you all have seen and talked about. We don't have the retail business outside of the restaurants that we need, and that's really what we want to target and work on. I know there was some talk about being very restaurant-centric in our group. Anybody been to Sparkman Wharf? It's based on restaurants. Have you been to Armature Works? It's based on restaurants. And the other businesses come with it. But the primary business is food and beverage, and that's what's bringing people to the area. So, yes, it is. On our District Advantage app, which you're probably a little familiar with, and we'll talk a little bit about, we have 25 members on it right now. 15 are restaurants, 10 are other retail businesses. So I think that's a pretty good percentage, and we're really trying to work hard to push that number as well. Our long-term goals are are very short-term, really 2 years from now, when the amphitheater opens, that we have a viable, solution for people who are coming downtown or coming to this area, that they have something to do other than come to the show and go home. So our marketing efforts now are going to extend into Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Largo. We're bringing in people. I think we've done a fantastic job of taking people in our proximity and bringing them down and showing them what we have to offer. Now we're just going to keep expanding that circle. So that's our next project. Okay, one thing I wanted to touch on real quick was just skin in the game was something that was kind of talked about. And I heard a lot of praise from everybody about what we're doing or how we're moving forward, but you probably don't appreciate some of the time and effort that people put in. I probably personally put in 20 to 25 hours a week working on projects for the district and for downtown. That's on top of my 60-hour work week. So, and it's no stranger to everybody up here because everybody here does the same thing. So you know, we appreciate each other. Carolyn, very much the same thing. Lena, God love her. I don't know how she's done it for all these years, you know, but she's been carrying that torch forever. Mike Mastosario, who, you know, was up here last time, and he was very passionate. He is very passionate. He's one of our biggest proponents of downtown. I mean, he's fronted, you know, over $10,000 in his, you know, materials, just in faith that we're going to be able to, you know, do things and succeed. Sheila has been working tirelessly for, I can't tell you how many, 2 months, probably 30+ hours a week working for us, all pro bono at this point. So we are, you know, we all have skin in the game, whether it's money, whether it's time and hours invested, but we're all, you know, we're passionate about it, we're working hard. We, you know, we had a monthly meeting today, and every meeting we get more people coming and just more involvement, so it's moving forward. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about, yes, $68,000 is a substantial amount of money, although I did hear $785,000 somewhere, so I'll take a chunk of that. But we are also working very hard to be self-funding as well. We have the District Advantages app, which we will make money from. We stand, you know, we're hoping to have 1,000 of those a month. You sell them for $20, we get $10 each for that. So 120,000 sold, you know, over the course of the year is a substantial amount of money. We are doing the Blues Fest this year, since they can't be down at the park, and we will be the sole vendors for food and beverage. We're pulling the permit ourselves, and we'll work through Amplify with that, but and that's the end of February, and that should be a substantial amount of money that we're doing all of that ourselves, the vending. We have the possibility of doing a half benefit but half for profit for us, for downtown, Super Bowl charity party in conjunction with the Super Bowl. It would be the week before the Super Bowl, which will raise, again, a substantial amount of money. We hope to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars with this party. COVID pending and everything's on hold, obviously, but that will, you know, help fund us. And then lastly, we've done 2 now, we have our 3rd one coming. We called it a wine walk before. Now we just changed it today. The weekend walk.
Or stroll. The weekend stroll.
The weekend stroll, yes. No, the sip and stroll. I'm sorry. We came up with this today, the marketing group. We have a $1,000 sponsor for the next one in December, and next year we will have $1,500 sponsors every month for it, $18,000 a year. So we are working hard, and trust me when I say that we would rather be out in the community working on projects and meeting people and bringing new businesses in than spend our time game planning business plans to be here with you guys for sure. And you don't want to sit here and listen to us either. So, yeah, we're working very hard at that. So just understand that. Okay, I'm done. I think we wanted to bring Sheila up just if we've got some questions and you want to start digging in with.
Okay, before she comes up, Keenan, go ahead.
Hey, just, you caught my attention, the Blues Festival?
Yes.
You said you're the vendor of, I didn't,
Through Chris.
does that mean
Chris
like
Cook, we will be.
no food carts?
We'll have the food, yeah, we're gonna do all the food ourselves.
So
on
no
the
food
street,
carts?
No food carts.
Nice.
From, you know, from Osceola to Station Square. We'll have the alcohol permit as well through the city, so we can make a fair amount of money through that.
I like it.
So, you know, as much as we can, jazz is going on down at Station Square these weeks, and it's all merchants that are taking care of the food and beverage. Well, they're taking care of the alcohol on that one, actually, but, so we're, you know, anything we can do. A, gets the name out there, and it's working on, you know, we have district things there, and B, you know, helping businesses make money.
Okay.
I can
Very
speak to the Jazz Festival. The first one that they had down there, first, was it Gary? I think he asked
Yes.
the question.
I think you have to get closer to the mic, Carolyn.
I'm sorry.
Scott and I have been down there vending at both of them so far. The first Jazz Festival they had a couple weeks ago, I believe it was Gary, when he got up to kind of start the event, he asked for a show of hands of how many had ever been to Station Square. Nobody raised their hand. and there were about 150, 160 people there. And they had a fantastic time. Everybody had a fantastic time. We were at the second one. I don't remember if he asked that question or not, but people were very happy to be downtown Clearwater and in that venue. They've done a beautiful job putting that thing together, and it's been a nice collaboration. The fact that they were putting it on and they basically approached the merchants to see if we could help them participate. We worked out how we could do it, and it's just been a nice community effort to bring a very well-received event in a wonderful park that we have that doesn't get used enough. And I just wanted to comment on that we are bringing people here through these various events in a different way than we've ever been able to do before. So it's been good.
Very good.
All right, so
Go ahead.
I'd like to bring Sheila up because I know we're going to have questions on marketing, and she's kind of our spearhead on that. And we don't want to take forever tonight. We want to be as quick at this as we can. So we're just going to open the floor to any questions that you have.
Okay. Sheila, I have a question for you, if you're the right person to ask this. One of the things that we were hoping to see that we didn't get answered last time, that we were hoping to get presented to us today, was out of the, I think we approved 33,000 and something last month. How was it going to be spent, and over what period of time?
Did we not submit the budget? Sorry, I had an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
Well-
We have this
Yeah.
and this.
Okay.
I have this, but that doesn't really, it doesn't say, it just says monthly. It doesn't say how long this program goes on for.
Yeah.
Like-
What I've envisioned, we need to do some infrastructure. We need to have a website. We need to have the direct mail and all the sponsorships that we've already committed to funded. So those are like one-time charges. And so I looked at what I brought out was the monthly thing was basically ongoing expenses that we feel like once we put the initial infrastructure in for the website and completed the direct mail, there would be monthly charges. That's why I kind of broke it out on a regular basis.
Okay, but that's what I have a hard time grasping what that number is from this. I don't see that number
So
here.
is this representing 4 months, a year, 6 months?
I originally thought it was 4 months.
Yeah, I think we did a 4-month ask.
Yeah, it was a 4-month ask. But see, and see, what we thought was, this was gonna be initial seed capital, and if you notice, I think, and that was the deliverables, that after, like, what we were hoping is, after April, we thought by vaccines and people would be coming back for group events and stuff like that, that we would start getting a lot more revenue, our sponsorships would go up, and that at that point, we would be completely more self-funding.
Okay, so,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Sheila, go ahead.
I'm just curious, so, we have two ends of the pendulum. It can be very successful, and it will continue, feed itself, or not successful. So, what are the two scenarios? If it's not, if we run our funding and it hasn't jump-started, what happens then?
Well, I'd like to say something. We've actually launched the marketing
Carolyn,
program.
you have to go right in front of the mic.
Thank you.
Sure.
We launched this program actually end of September, 1st of October. So we've been doing the postcard campaign. You see the latest one. I gave each one a copy of that one. We've gotten our Facebook and our social media active. We are just waiting to get our website up. And what we all are experiencing is a basic increase in traffic downtown, in our revenue streams. I mean, if you listen to what Scott said for his own restaurant, normally all of us depend on the Capitol Theater. We've had no shows. We've had no shows this summer. We've had no shows this fall. We are going to have maybe 2 shows in December. And
Yet revenue and traffic is increasing downtown. We've had more traffic and more people frequenting us than we've had when we had the shows going on. The shows would come, we'd get one night of business, and then it was just flat. You know, you would hope to keep getting your customers back again. So my point to you is, we already feel that we are in a successful marketing program right now. We have sent those mailers out. We've generated some good programs. That whole little wine walk is definitely generating a lot of interest and a lot of activity. We'd like to be able to do more. Our hands are tied because we can't do the normal events that we would.
I'm sorry.
But we're just bringing the people here. I mean, that's the thing.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be negative, Nellie.
No, I understand.
For any endeavor, I look at, if I'm successful, that's great. If I'm not, what are my contingencies? How I'm gonna continue? So what I'm asking is, have you guys thought that once this 4 months over and it needs to continue, what are the plans? Or is there a plan for that?
Can I respond to that question? One of the things that has happened during this pandemic is that we've become very responsive and resilient. We continuously do ROIs, return on investment, and we make the adequate adjustments. So this is not a plan where we're going to reevaluate at the end of the 4 months. We're constantly making changes. And I think that's what makes us successful. We're very flexible. This has, left us in a tailspin, but it also made us very resilient. And we look at the data constantly, and we make the appropriate changes. So I think that's why we've been very successful, because we don't just throw something out there. We always have, a debriefing, and then we adjust our plans accordingly. So even though what we're presenting to you is a plan, it's also a moving, breathing, and living thing that we're constantly changing according to the data that we collect and the results. So if that brings you in, it's not a static thing.
I got it. If I may make a suggestion, for any endeavor to succeed, one has to look at both ends, the good and the bad, and have plans. If it's not as good as it should be, there should be some sort of a plan. Maybe come back with to this board and say, hey, we need more. I don't know. What are the plans? Because if you prepare for it, most likely it won't happen. It's when it's not prepared for, that's where all of a sudden, now you have to be constantly on your toes and keep changing. That was my question. So the answer is basically nothing planned if it just doesn't get going as good as you want it to.
Well,
Thank you.
Nothing that we do will change. We will take, we'll take bits and pieces. What's most successful? Obviously, some things work better than others. So, we're going to continue to build on the things that work. And there is no option for failure. We're businesses. We close if we fail. Our goal is to bring more business and build it and keep that snowball going. So, in my eyes, we don't plan for failure, but we have contingency plans. So, we have a great corporate support behind us. And we're working with, CDP people as well, that are going to be partners with us. And we're partners, I think, with more people than ever. Ruth Eckert is very vested with it. And their hands are tied right now, so they can't help a whole lot. But we've got a great program going with them in January. Things like that are going to continue. So we're not going anywhere. And I don't think we've shown that we've done anything that should make you question where we're headed. We want to be connected to the city. I think the district at one point, there was a question whether that worked with the city's or the CRA's game plan. And that was the plan all along, that yes, it is, because it used to be the Cleveland Street District. The reason the Cleveland Street District wasn't successful before wasn't the name, right? It was execution for whatever happened years before. So we're making it work very well. We want it to tie into live, work, play, and be a part of the city as well. So it's not, the contingency plan isn't to come back and ask for $100,000 next time because we didn't get anything done. It's, it's to make money on our own and to treat it like a business.
Great, we're here. We're going to be here.
So I just wanted to make a point that nobody on the board wants to say anything or come across as, to say anything that would dampen your enthusiasm and volunteer spirit in what you're doing. We want that, to preserve that and enhance it to the degree that we can. Lena, you've been on the board before, so you understand that.
Yes, I do.
Well, just let me finish what I'm saying.
Sorry.
You are volunteers and independent business people, as many of us are, and we understand where you're coming from, and you'd like the least amount of paperwork and bureaucracy and everything else. But you should understand, and you, I'm sure, do, that as members of the board, we have a fiduciary responsibility to properly use the taxpayers' funds and to ensure that they're used correctly. Elise, you had a comment?
Last month, you gave them specific requirements to amend their documents to give you a completed marketing outline. Arguably, you have that with deliverables. You don't have that. A list of details for each DCMA member who's going to be promoted. If they're not promoting individuals, they can say none. A 4-month breakdown. They think that might be it, but it's not a monthly breakdown. It's a 4-month, this is what it's going to cost. And a long-term financial sustainability plan. They've been doing this since September. They have some track records. You don't expect them to come up with perfect, but you expect them to come up with something. If you want to approve them today, you have to waive the requirements you've already put in place. Your other option is to table it and give them a chance to give you the information you've requested.
And to respectfully disagree, that can't be an option because we have, on good faith, we have probably $30,000 of that $4,000 from last month spent with advertising, and we've committed to, and people on our payroll that have not received a dime. Also, this ask really covers 6 months because this started back on October 1st, and will run through April. So 4 months from now forward. But there's a lot that's been done over the last 2 months that, because of the process, is actually kind of dragging it out. And we're new. Trust me, we're new to the process, and we've struggled with that as well. Howard has been amazing helping us, through it to get the correct information to you and to get it, in timely manners. And but to wait another month will not, it will have very negative ramifications.
I'm going to go to Amanda first.
Sure, I would just say that, I would recommend that you guys finish having your questions answered, ascertaining what you need to know from the DCMA members. I feel like we have what we need administratively to craft a funding agreement. With the information that we have here, want to make sure everybody understands what they're voting on, because no one likes paperwork. We're not masochists, but we're audited. And we have to make sure that we're doing what DDB asks us to do when we're issuing payments, and make sure that's all clear. So I do think there are a couple issues that you need to be cognizant of. If there is prepayment, if you don't do on a reimbursement basis, then that's something we need direction from you in order to set up a different payment schedule. So if you say we're going to issue, $25,000 upon a signed agreement, right? We need to know that from you. That's not something that I have the authority to approve. The time period that you want to tie activities to, whether it's 1 month, 4 months, back in time, forward in time, we want to be clear about that. Certainly, you can attach these as exhibits, but this is what we will live to. So if events in here don't happen, then either you have to give us the authority to rearrange that money within these categories, or we will need to come back to you to change where the money is allocated. So those are just some things to consider, but, we can work all that out after everyone's sat down.
We weren't expecting it. Best case scenario, if you granted us the $68,000, we weren't expecting a check for $68,000. We need to invoice specifically, and part of that would be now, and part of it would be over time through April. So it's not, all in one shot, obviously.
Right, just to clarify, the agenda item is for $33,000.
So your original motion was approving the $33,000 300 with the condition that they come back in 30 days with a marketing plan with those items. So as long as they have met that submission, that condition, which we believe they have with these two documents, then we would move forward with that part of the funding agreement. But tonight, if you want to approve the entire amount, then we'll just go ahead and do that all at once and attach these exhibits and have one funding agreement.
Right.
We thought we had our ducks more in a row now, so we thought we would come back again for the same ask. And certainly, you know, work with a portion of that if we need to, but we'll.
Okay. As long as everyone understands, what we approved last time was pending on these conditions being met today, that 33,000 and some odd dollars had been approved. And it's just now at this meeting that it's being presented as a bigger amount than that.
No, remember, the original request was this larger amount.
But we didn't approve that.
You only approved half of it because you
Right.
didn't have enough information to feel comfortable approving the total amount. But you said you were open to considering the total amount with the submission of additional information.
Okay. Is that clear to everyone? Is that what we?
Yeah.
Yes, can you?
Our attorney mentioned something I didn't really, she's at least said that there was one or two things not yet done. I didn't
Right.
get those.
Elise, please address those for us, okay? We just want to be clear how we're going to proceed.
I'm supposed to come up here, but
Yeah.
according to your minutes, you approved the other part. You did, according to your minutes, you have approved half, all right? And that was not contingent on the four things I brought up. The four things I brought up is for the other half. They need the marketing plan so that we can, for the first half, so that we can put together a contract as to how that money is going to be dispersed. All right, and you didn't specify how that money was going to be dispersed, and you probably should today. I'm talking about the half you've already approved. You need to say how that's going to be dispersed, whether it's on reimbursement or whether it's, you know, a lump sum at the beginning, which obviously as your attorney, I'm going, no, please don't. But, you know, you have in the past ignored me. So the, you know, the first decision, and I think Amanda can help you on what is more practical there as to how it should be set up for disbursement of the part you've already approved. The part you've already approved is not contingent on the four things you brought up at the last meeting.
That was for the second half.
The second half is, yeah, what these four things is for the second half,
Okay.
okay? Did that, I couldn't hear your question, I'm sorry.
To be clear on the four things, sorry, they kind of jumbled together.
The four things are, and I'm reading from your minutes that you've approved, a completed marketing outline with deliverables, a list and details for each DCMA member to be promoted. They haven't listed, they told you who their members are, they haven't told you who they're promoting. If it's none of them, say none of them.
Well,
But you need an answer to that
At
question.
least we saw that met in this thing under Clearwater Business Owner.
Pardon?
So they have a chart here showing the benefits and what happens and who's involved, so it's really embedded in this.
I saw that, yes.
Okay, the third thing?
A 4-month breakdown, a 4-month budget, a breakdown of how the money is going to be spent monthly, and a long-term financial sustainability plan. That's what you asked for. If you're waiving any of that, you have the right to waive it, but you have to waive it.
We have 3 out of 4, basically.
If you decide 3 out of 4 ain't bad, whatever. But you have to deal with what you've already done.
Understood.
Okay?
And I would just offer, that this potential revenue sources, this is what we see is their stab at a take on the long-term financial sustainability. Is 4 months long-term,
Okay.
No, not the
No, it's
longest
not.
term.
The long-term sustainability, when you guys were discussing it, was what happens after the 4 months. Because you can't come back to us for another 68, we don't have that kind of budget. So what happens after the 4 months is what the long-term sustainability was talking about.
And then it could be organized differently, but the combination of this, and again, this color-coded chart, that's the 4-month plan of everything that's
And
gonna happen.
one of the things, if we're looking for solutions here, one of your options is to say, we'd like to see how this is going to be dispersed, how it's going to be paid out over the 4 months, what determines whether or not it's going to be paid out over the 4 months, include it in a contract, and say, if we approve that contract, you get the, you can get the more details worked out in a contract that you approve. You can contingently approve based on whether a satisfactory contract can be negotiated.
Okay. Keelan?
That answered my question, and I'm fine with this as far as the 4 points. And then I like her idea of a contract, however Shahab wants to do that.
Okay. So we're still on board questions. Does anyone have any questions about this?
You're actually on questions to the presenters.
Yes. Does anyone have any?
I'm done, sir.
Okay. So let's see if there are any citizen comments on this motion, on this topic. Are there any citizen comments? Okay. So now what we're looking for, okay. What we're looking for is a motion on this point, and that has to be carefully crafted so that it makes sense to our administrative people. Yes, sir.
You ready?
I'm not going to take notes, but
I move
Yeah.
that we give them 50% of it right now to cover the expenses that they have occurred, and give them the other 50% within 4 months based on the contract, based on their presenting us with what else they're doing.
Okay.
I don't want to slow this ship down. I live right above Station Square. My condo's right above it. I hear the music, I see the people, and it's the most activity I've seen downtown in a long time, and I want to contribute to the motion.
Okay, so that's the motion. Technically, is it an adequate motion to satisfy what you need, Amanda?
So confirming that the total grant amount is $68,600. Correct? Okay. So that half of that grant amount you would want dispersed upon a signed funding agreement.
Immediately.
Well, no, there's a
not
difference
sooner.
between immediately
They
and
need
a
the
signed
help.
funding agreement.
Right.
They've already
Those
spent
are
it.
two different things.
They've already spent it.
That's
And
okay, you can't,
the remaining over
I get animated.
4 months, which is a period of January 1st to April 30th. And that would be based on your current financial policies, which is they submit us an invoice directly from a vendor or a paid receipt, and then we reimburse.
okay?
So that would be the remaining half
For-
of the
for the
grant funds
second
would be
half.
paid for that way, and under this current motion.
Okay. Representative there, can someone come up and address that? Does that work? Do you foresee any problem with that? Just briefly, because we want to move it
No,
along, just a yes or no.
I know, I can go on. Yes, absolutely, that's, I think that's very similar to what we were hoping for.
Okay, that's all we need. We want to keep this moving along.
I think we were hoping that we might not have to wait another 4 months for the other half, that we might be able to bill out part of it over time.
That would be
Yes,
over
that went
time
along.
upon submission of a
So
payment.
if we've got an advertising that we need $2,000 for in January, we can submit that in January and receive it in
That is the way, that is what we're talking about.
Perfect, I just wanted to be
Catalyst
clear.
says, I did 3 media releases for $400 and this for $200. Here's my invoice. You turn that in and we pay it.
Okay,
Thank you.
so can you read us back the
And then
motion?
and that these become the exhibits that are attached to the funding agreement.
Right,
These are the basis of the funding agreement.
We may have to amend the motion because there is one step not included in this, so we can actually amend it. Of the four conditions, I guess one of them was not fully.
They have not really given you a long-term sustainability plan.
So we waived that and then we just roll forward.
But you haven't had a second to the motion you've got already.
I thought
right, we're still crafting the wording of the motion.
So, okay. You would have to waive that because they haven't given it to you. They really haven't. And I think you're going to have to be a little bit, I think you're going to have to waive the deliverables if you're going forward too, because they didn't give you that. They've given you hopes in their speech, but they haven't given you deliverables. So if you're moving forward, you're going to have to waive those two things.
So I guess we can add.
I add that to my motion.
Okay, Amanda, can you make some appropriate language
So,
and then
yeah,
read it back to
I
us?
just need a minute to write this out.
Go ahead, go ahead. Take your time, take your time.
So in a way that is legible, yes, I do. Oh,
Why not the time we could do one?
Motion is
Mr. Chairman, I have a,
as to,
You may occupy some time while Amanda edits.
as to the.
if the motion as presented goes forward, just to clarify for myself, does that mean we give out half?
You can do a new
Do we get receipts back for where that half went, or I don't?
Well, I think
I imagine we
Is that
do,
part
yeah,
of the-
yeah,
That
yeah,
was part of.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, yeah. We will reimburse based on
but we'll see that
receipts.
the money was spent on
Yes.
this. Okay,
There will be financial accountability.
okay, good.
34-3.
Mhm.
Let's make Clearwater fun again.
Were not worked out. And I believe the motion
That
was
could
that
catch
that
on.
amount would be paid immediately.
I think you're onto something.
So I think you're gonna do points, bullet points in the motion. The amount of.
MCFA.
And the amount of 34-3 will be.
Want me some hats?
Contract
I think so.
that has been approved by attorney and staff.
Mhm.
Okay, and then, an additional amount.
See if we spend a couple of minutes now wording it correctly, we can cut out half an hour of discussion.
Well, we don't have to do the half-hour discussion.
Is approved.
Trust me, that's what happens.
We're not talking about a lot of money.
Well, we are for us.
Well,
Okay.
we can give a lot of people 5,000 each, or we can give something that's already moving.
Acknowledging waiver of
Nobody's against doing it, we just want it done right.
requirement for deliverables and a long-term financial sustainability plan as required in the prior motion.
For performance. I mean,
You're gonna have to read this whole motion out.
A moving car is easier to push than a stopped one.
Okay.
Depends what direction it's.
With the funds payable on a reimbursement
How's the back?
basis.
So let's keep this car going.
You're sitting, that's good.
Which that's
One of my grandpa's old sayings.
Pardon?
that's just their normal
I
policy.
think we can ask the city to make it in downhill, so that.
Well, we do, we're on the bluff, it does roll down.
Over 4 months. And you want that over 4 months to be equal amounts over the 4 months so that you don't have a front-loaded payment that.
I don't know, I don't think so, I don't think so.
Because you did a thing, we pay for the thing,
Okay.
There you go,
Yeah.
right.
Pay as you go.
beginning January 1st.
Right, motion maker?
With these as the exhibits, they commit to doing this.
Why stall? Let's just get this city moving.
Because like some of these
It
events.
is moving.
We're trying.
Yeah.
All of us together.
That's right.
I'm sorry I'm holding it up,
We are in
Ray.
a virtuous cycle.
Work on the details of the
And
contract.
I think you all have made some really good investments
Their thing, but there's
that
other.
are going to have
So,
Okay.
good returns. So
Is that
I
readable?
applaud
Okay.
you on that.
I move approval, the 34,300 will be paid upon execution of funding agreement approved by attorney and staff.
Let's fill your store.
That's what?
Let's fill your store.
That would be good, that would be good.
Waiver
Well, I went to the jazz on Saturday.
requirements for performance metrics and long-term
And,
sustainability plan.
I mean, there were people I've never seen.
May I ask that you withdraw your motion and whoever seconded, nobody seconded it
No.
yet. So withdraw your motion so that we don't have to,
Okay, so I can read that one?
2021.
and then since we'll probably read it for you and you can
That's
agree
fine.
to it.
That's
So
fine.
would you like to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion based on a better one over here.
Good.
or a more complete one. Our attorney, you're sharp.
And then we walked down to Cleveland, and I
On our
saw,
toes.
you know, a table with a doctor that I know, an attorney,
Budget,
and a financial advisor, all the same, all
yeah.
from Bel Air,
segment,
and all spending a ton of
You're
money.
done with me?
And it was the first time they'd been down.
never alone.
In probably many years.
And they were thrilled. Because they want St. Pete, but they don't want to drive there.
Exactly, they can almost walk.
That's nice.
Excellent.
People in Chicago are jealous.
Right now they are.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Yep.
We're ready.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the motion would be to move approval that $34,300 will be paid upon execution of a funding agreement approved by the DDB attorney and staff. Additional $34,300 is approved under the following conditions: acknowledging the waiver of requirements for performance metrics and a long-term sustainability plan. With the funds will be payable on a reimbursement basis over 4 months, beginning January 1st, 2021. And the district marketing plan and budget by segment will be incorporated as exhibits to the funding agreement.
Is that your motion?
I move that, yes.
Very good. Do we have a second for that
I'll
motion?
second that.
Venkat seconds that motion. Okay, now we have board discussion on this. Is there any discussion by anyone?
I agree with Mr. Casano. I mean, this is moving forward, and I would love to see it succeed, so.
And I think they've had a great track record since the COVID hit, so I think that's a good thing. I applaud them for that.
Okay, very good. Keenan?
As far as jazz goes, I prefer saxophone.
We'll make a note of that. Did you have a comment, sir?
I made them while we were waiting for the motion, so thank
Okay.
you all. Hope you have a happy holiday season.
And I thank you for passing this as well. You want to make a thriving downtown. These are the people who are doing it. They've gotten results already. So I'm glad we're backing them. I agree with Mr. Casano and Mr. Imrani that they deserve our support. And if they can fill those empty buildings, that would be remarkable. So good luck to you.
Very good. Okay, is there any additional discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is passed unanimously. Congratulations. You are funded for the next few
Awesome.
months. Okay, item 5 in old business 5.1 was an equity committee update, but Caitlin was unable to attend today, so that will be put off to a future date. Item 5.2 is CRA updates, and Amanda will take the lead on that.
Yes, and Howard, you have an item.
Good evening again. I'd like to bring an item to the board to ask the DDB to appoint one member to the Downtown Mural Program Phase 2 Committee. The Phase 2 Committee is a selection panel that will vote on murals for 2 city-owned properties. And we're asking that the DDB member will join the other downtown stakeholders on this committee. The participation time will be done via WebEx, and it's approximately for 1 hour. And the 2 city-owned properties that we'll be voting on for a mural will be 701 Franklin Street and also at the intersection of Cleveland Street and Garden. The time has not been determined as for the date when the committee will meet, but it will happen within the next 2 weeks, depending on getting all of the committee members together. So I would ask that the board appoint one member to be a part of the Downtown Mural Committee Phase 2.
Do we have a volunteer?
I'd like to volunteer, Mr. Venkat.
Venkat's still here. We can
On the board.
only volunteer people that are absent.
That's right, we used to do that.
I'll volunteer.
Keenan accept volunteers, and I think we'll accept your offer.
Under one condition. They don't ask for artistic input.
Okay. And that they play the saxophone.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your volunteer.
Thank you, and then Keaton will be in touch with the information.
Great, just a couple more updates. First of all, thank you, Mr. Devaney, for your service, and you will get a very lovely letter. And at some point in the time when we can all gather and have parties, we'll do that. We're just gonna have a massive party for everything that, happened in the past 18 months or however it goes. You'll see a lot more lighting displays going up. We've been able to coordinate with Clark to get the rest of the palm trees and poinsettias coming into downtown, and then Decorating Elves has wrapped the trees. That cannot stay permanently. Don't get attached because trees grow and the arborists are going to yell at us. But we're going to have it for about 2 months, that additional lighting. So that's good. You're also going to see a window wearable art display happening in a couple of storefronts in the 500 and 600 block. There is a line item in the DDB budget for that. Right now, CRA is just paying for it, and we're hoping that as this catches on, we're going to get some more property owners interested and then have, a phase 2 or be able to expand it. And at that point in time, we'll come back to the DDB. But we wanted to work out the kinks first and try to build some excitement. Holiday is happening. So there's several more movies on Saturdays. The CRA is a sponsor for the Wanderlust series by Jazz Holiday in Station Square. So I'm so happy you guys are enjoying that. It's working out so well. And we are going to continue that partnership. Gary Hallis is already working on a February-March series, getting that together. So that's something that we'd like to continue to I was like, look, you want Station Square? You can, it's yours. Fill it up all the time. So we're still working on that. I sent out a document. Rosemary DeMoore was set to give you guys an update on what we do for marketing now and also solicit your feedback on more DDB marketing in the future in September, but she was ill. We'll be coming back in January with that conversation. We have also brought Bandwagon on board, which is a tourism marketing firm that the city Economic Development and Amplify Clearwater already uses. So they'll be working with you all and with City Council on the sentiment surveys, everything that you've talked about in surveying kind of our region, our mini region, larger region about downtown. So that's a long list. Do your homework, read it. We'll be back for more conversation on that in January. 2 last things. There will be letters going out to every single property owner from Mayor Hibbard on Monday, just saying, here's what's happening in the CRA, we welcome your feedback, here's major capital improvement investments we're making, here's when the CRA meets and what our whole purpose and reason for being is. And we'll do a second mailing that'll go out on Tuesday of next week to commercial property owners within the Opportunity Zone. Just saying, in case you're not aware, you are part of a special tax district. We're launching a major marketing campaign mid-January to start really pushing the Opportunity Zone nationwide to investors, in that real estate community. And that if you as a property owner want to be part of that marketing campaign, we want to include you. Several other development authorities across the nation, they have these beautiful slide decks, right? And they say, here's the property, here's how much money is needed, here's the opportunity, right, that can happen. So we want to be able to build a slide deck like that as well, with not just city and CRA property, but with private property as well. So you will all receive those letters because you're located in both of those. And last but not least, on Monday, City Council had a work session on Imagine Clearwater. And we've been able to get to a park design that fits within the $64 million, $65 million budget. So we don't anticipate there's going to be any more major design changes unless council comes back and adds back in things. But we're going to be moving forward. Utility construction has started. You would see more like kind of big dirt moving around in March, April, and a set completion date right now, fall of 2023. So that's the status with the park. With the Bluff properties, We are fast and furious getting a draft request for proposals together, and we hope to have that in front of council on December 14th. A draft, assuming, we can get agreement on some major issues, and then that would be published in January. So where that is right now is, again, just kind of dependent on where everyone is philosophically. We can either have a very aggressive process and get it from publication to referendum in 1 year, or if that's not possible, we'll be looking at a more extended process. But right now, that's what staff's aim is. But it's complex. These are complex properties, and when you're talking about incentives and what kind of development you want to see, we have to get a key group of people in agreement and on the same page. So, but that is moving forward, and certainly we'll be letting everybody know. And there will be a big advertising campaign around those requests for proposals too, because we want as many, high-quality developers who are familiar with urban environments as possible applying. Any questions for me?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. And you mentioned opportunity zones. Could you just explain again how you guys intend to promote this opportunity zones? Are you getting any outside consultation for this, or is just?
Sure. So we're hiring a digital marketing firm to handle just that, right? Like publication around electronic channels. We are creating the content, the maps, and the videos and the photography with current marketing contractors that we have, like Bandwagon, and we also have some in-house material for that. We're doing a webinar with Invest Tampa Bay in January that'll have targeted invites. To the extent that we can do a site visit or in-person things, we will do that, but if not, we're really focused on kind of short videos that are showcasing those opportunities. We'll have a prospectus, right, which is a fancy name for a brochure, and then we'll have that slide deck. So that PowerPoint presentation that says, here's the address, here's the property, this is the capital stack, here's the OZ money they're looking for, and here's who you contact to make that happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you. So is that it for your report, Amanda?
That is, thank you.
Okay. So we'll move on to the chairman's report, and the letter that Amanda alluded to, I'm going to read it out loud. It's addressed to Venkat Divanini. It says, Dear Venkat, on behalf of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board, we would like to express our sincere appreciation for your dedicated service as the DDB board member since 2018. Your willingness to serve the citizens of downtown Clearwater has earned our deepest respect and admiration. Your guidance and fellowship will be missed. We wish you success in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
And that's going to be presented to him, and thank you very much, sir. Okay, and now we'll move on to board members to be heard. Final comments, beginning on my left.
Oh, I just think 2020's gone, 2021's coming, and things are looking good, so I'm real happy.
Good. Shahab?
I'd like to wish everyone here a very happy holiday season, and I look forward to a fantastic 2021 ahead of us. I think it'll be a wonderful year ahead of us, and it looks exciting.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for their work and efforts, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Great.
I have a few final comments. It has been a great pleasure to serve 3 years on this board. I had a chance to work with many wonderful DDB, CRA, city staff, and other board members. I want to add a few more words. Many areas of Tampa downtown, other than Channel Side, in 2010 had empty buildings, homelessness, and petty crime. The Tampa Riverwalk project was started in 1976. It was completed in 2016. It took 40 years for them to complete the Tampa Riverwalk project. If somebody traveled to Tampa downtown in 2010, they would not have expected to see this Riverwalk, new condo buildings, trendy restaurants that we see today. It is not unto a city or a county or a state or any other single organization to make a downtown thrive. It is the collective responsibility of various stakeholders in the downtown to do that. Once Imagine Clearwater is complete, we would have more foot traffic in Clearwater downtown, and hopefully more people, restaurants, shops like other downtowns like Dunedin, St. Pete, Tampa. Thank you all for your support during my term on the Downtown Development Board. Thank you very much.
Very good. Keenan?
Representing the 600 block, we are adding 2 new businesses. The old Jim Warren Studios, it looks like a Pilates studio is moving in. I saw it today. Hadn't seen any work in there in years. And then next to me, a video photography studio is moving in this month. So that's 2 new businesses on the 600 block, and happy holidays.
Great. Mr. Mayor?
I lost track of the agenda and made most of my comments, so I guess I'm crazy. But thank you for all your hard work throughout the entire year. I expect 2021 to be better than 2020. It can't
Definitely.
be worse. So God bless you all.
Great.
I'm pleased to say that next week I should have out a brand-new video. My friend Aaron Smith-Levin and I enjoyed a magnificent meal at Chiang Mai Thai and Sushi Bar, and we talked about the restaurant and also the district in general, promoting that, and I got some great music and some comments from people out there. So that's all on the next Dining with the SPs.
Great.
And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And I would just like to double down on some of the comments that have been made. I would like to wish everyone happy holidays. And yes, I agree that it would be hard for 2020 to not be exceeded by 2021. 2021 is going to be a much better year. I can hardly wait. So happy holidays and happy New Year to you all. We'll see you in the new year. Thank you. At 6:52 in the evening, this meeting is adjourned.